One of our favorites from NBC Sports Boston, Tom Curran, back here in the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Tom?
Tremendous. There's bad bets that you lose.
Yes.
And there's good bets that you lose.
Okay.
And you can't factor in the possibility that a highly capable quarterback is going to fumble when being tackled by air and then punt it back towards his own end zone and have somebody scoop and score on that.
Thank you.
They handed them a touchdown in a very competitive game. The Eagles was still the right bet. The Eagles were the better team that day,
Agree.
regardless of what happened in the final 30 minutes. And I regret nothing.
By the way, I agree with you.
I know, because as you told the Roku channel audience, our radio audience needs to be reminded, you took the Eagles, Chris, in Super Bowl 57, as did our friend Tom Curran. And you pointed that out without Tom being able to retort on the Roku channel, and you just used this proper space.
I was yelling.
You were not retorting. You were
Tom,
yelling back.
We were right.
No, man. I mean, that was it was a razor's edge situation. What did you think of the hold? What did you think of the holding call, Tom?
Had to be done. He did two things. He didn't just do one thing. He did two things, and it sucked. And it's a shame. But it wasn't just a grab of the shirt. It was a spin of the hips. So the two things combined, you know, you're out there on an island on the edge. We can talk, there's holding on the interior every play. You're not on the edge with the limelight on you and the quarterback staring that guy down. I don't think there would have been a massive outcry had there not been a flag, like in the 2012 Super Bowl won by the Ravens. Obviously, they interfered on the final play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't called, but we don't sit around saying, well, the Ravens only won that Super Bowl against the Niners because they didn't call that foul. But I think we will remember the flag being thrown for a long time. But I don't know. He did two things. You had to throw it.
Tom Curran here on the Rich Eisen Show from NBC Sports Boston. Let's just jump straight into it. Are the Patriots on the quarterback carousel this spring or not? What do you got?
Great question. Absolutely, positively not. That would happen over Robert Kraft's dead body.
Really?
We'll talk about that in 2024 if it's another mediocre season. But this notion that the Patriots would move on from Mac Jones after last July at the outset of training camp, when Bill Belichick talked about Mac Jones made a drastic improvement from an already highly impressive rookie year, if they now want to move on from him and his $4.36 million salary or whatever it is because of what happened in 2022, well, who's holding the smoking gun for what happened? The coach, the decisions. I think that if he walked to Robert Kraft and said, I'm thinking about moving on from Mac here. I mean, it's just, he was really surly. I think Robert Kraft would say, you out of your mind? He's making $4 million? He was a good player last year. He's a bad player now. You want to move on from him? Why is that? And he'd have to say, because we did nothing to help him. So I think that any speculation that Mac Jones would be trade bait or considered a trade object in 2023 is cuckoo. Next year might be a different story with him entering the final year of his contract and whether or not the Patriots pick up the fifth-year option. But this year, absolutely not.
So if I am James Garoppolo's representative looking for a new spot, doing my due diligence, I'm not calling New England because you know what the answer is going to be, or do you take the shot anyway? Tom?
I think you take the shot anyway if you're Don Yee, and I think he remains Jimmy's agent.
Yep.
Because Bailey Zappi has shown himself to be a capable 10-2, I can start a couple of games and not ruin things for you quarterback. He did it in, portions of 4 games, 2 wins. So you have that, but do you have the veteran? Brian Hoyer is still under contract, but more and more in the cameos we've seen from him, he's either been a little bit injury-prone or a little bit scattered. Even though I think he could still be a capable backup quarterback, he's almost 38. So you need a capable backup in case Mac gets hurt. He's shown great toughness, but I'd still do that. But I just think that the Patriots owe Mac Jones and themselves the opportunity to see what they have in the 15th overall pick. He was a good player as a rookie. If it wasn't for Jamar Chase's flurry at the end of that season, Mac Jones would have been the offensive rookie of the year. He was the leading candidate for that most of the season. And then he's had a bad season. But he doesn't have to deal with Cam Newton in this training camp, and he's not a rookie. And he doesn't have to deal with uncertainty and an offensive switch and everything else this year. So see what you have.
Well, then let's move to what Bill O'Brien brings to the table for Mac Jones.
Sure.
And what you think that plan is. Then, because if you're saying, not if you're saying, you just said that Robert Kraft is dead set against anything other than Mac Jones, and Belichick has now called up the guy who read Brady riot acts or didn't stand down from Brady when Brady was Brady in New England. What does O'Brien bring to this equation for Mac Jones, do you think, Tom?
He brings a plumber to fix a sink, as opposed to a finished carpenter, which is what the Patriots tried to have to do with last year.
What an analogy. Yeah.
What O'Brien brings, check this out. In 2010 and 2011, O'Brien presided over what will still be the greatest combined tight end seasons of all time. Regardless of what was going on off the field, not as great. Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez in 2011 and 2012 were beyond productive. They set records. And I wish I had the numbers at my fingertips right now to show you, but it's like,
no, you're right.
They combined like 65 touchdowns, 3,000 yards over 2 seasons, the two of them. So the Patriots right now are saddled with, again, by a long shot, the 2 highest cap numbers among tight ends in the NFL, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Together they have cap hits of like $37 million. So in order to get something out of them, the best guy to bring back would be somebody like Brian. So that's just using the assets. How will he impact Mac? What Mac's problem was, and the Boston Herald did a good job of articulating this, he'd go to the line of scrimmage and he wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't give him the answers to the test as to, okay, if this happens, then what am I doing? Which McDaniels could do, which he could do on his own. But the combination of Patricia, Judge, and Bill really were unable to really articulate, okay, this is the next level stuff. This is what we'll do if we see this. And we saw it all season long with game management, time management, and simple loss of synchronicity in your plays and your rhythm and your play calling. They became predictable because he wasn't getting to the line of scrimmage and knowing what he was going to expect to see. There were occasions when people would say, wow, Mac's really busy at the line of scrimmage. Look, he's gesturing this way and moving that guy. That's because he was showing up at the line of scrimmage and having an unbelievable amount of work to do because they weren't ready for what they were seeing. So O'Brien will help him with those things and shepherd him through that, which is what you need.
So, Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston here on the Rich Eisen Show. So the follow-up to that is, what do you make of the reports that Bill and the staff and the front office or New England Patriots writ large had an issue with the way that Mac Jones was conducting himself on the sidelines so vociferously? What do you make of that, Tom?
I could see why they would, and I could see why it was alluded to, I think, by Jeff Darlington, that others around the league, quote-unquote, had an issue with it. Look, there's a brotherhood among coaches, and the coaches are not going to want to be shown up. And Mac Jones sucked it up until December 1st against the Buffalo Bills, when in prime time, when the Patriots were basically putting up a white flag and trying to save themselves on the scoreboard, Mac Jones flipped. Said, stop the quick game. Let's push it down the field. And he said it after the game. We have to be urgent. We have to be aggressive. I thought it was time to be aggressive. He wanted to win games, and the Patriots were trying to save face. He showed up the coaches. That game, it was kind of excusable. He did it a little bit more against Arizona and a little bit against the Raiders with just cause, but it did get tiresome. So I could see Bill Belichick saying, look, it's one thing to be irritated with what's going on, but you're starting to show me up by pointing out that these bad hires by me are really bad hires, and you're not on board with it. So I could see the Patriots having an issue with that. But I also think it's fed by every group has a brotherhood, whether it's media, quarterbacks, wide receivers, or coaches. And I wouldn't be surprised if the brotherhood of NFL coaches have Matt Patricia or Joe Judge's back in indicating, yeah, I didn't love the way he acted when he was faced with some adversity.
So,
but I don't think there's a divorce pending.
Okay. And so just to put a button on this, let's just call it what it is, as you have many times. But I just find it hard to believe that the modern day Lombardi, the great, brilliant Bill Belichick, in year 2 of a crucial commodity, which, quarterbacks can be referred to as such.
Absolutely.
This crucial growth year for an asset, a human who the New England community fell in love with, which is so rare to fall in love with a kid after the GOAT leaves, that Belichick hired the wrong people, totally missed the mark on it. The kid chafed publicly, and that's what happened last year. I find it hard to believe that that's what happened last year, Tom, but you're saying that's exactly what happened.
You find it hard to believe of the act of misplaying it so badly?
Yeah, that Belichick would say, I trust in 2 guys who you referred to as a carpenter to fix a leaky sink.
Right. I do too, and I think a lot of it has to do with confidence that Bill has developed over the year in his own acumen and in the acumen of, he said it a million times. These are good football coaches. They know what they're doing. Matt did this, and Joe played quarterback, and he had high confidence that it would be an easy transition. But they're just not. They don't have enough humans on the coaching staff sometimes, and we've seen Adrian Clem come aboard. Billy Yates was a first-year offensive line coach to a large extent. Matt was a first-year play caller, first-year offensive coordinator, and he was supposed to help with the offensive line. There was a time when Jimmy Johnson and Bill Belichick used to take a boat trip, and I don't know if it was Jimmy or Bill who came off of that, and they had a general view that every team in the league, save for 10, will be their own worst enemy and defeat themselves at some point. So you're really only competing with 10 teams over the course of the year. Mm-hmm. And I think Bill believes my acumen, my ability as a head coach, my ability to get the most from our players, and the smartness of Mac Jones, all those things together are going to help us negotiate things and be a successful team. In some ways, he wasn't wrong. 8-9 isn't a full-on embarrassment, but that's wasting a very good defensive performance for unwatchable offense. He overestimated, I think, is what he did.
So then, to wrap things up here, Tom Curran, is Patricia and Judge sticking around, reassigned, while Bill O'Brien just comes in and it's now his shop to handle Jones in the offense?
I'm not sure what the disposition is with Patricia. It seems as if Joe Judge is going to be part of things going forward. Mm-hmm. As you know, it's impossible to get even title explanations out of these guys because, as Bill says, titles don't matter. Well, of course they matter, and they matter to him more than anybody else because he doesn't give them out. Because he thinks that they are some kind of an implication of what an expectation should be. So mm-hmm. He obviously thinks titles matter. But we don't know. It seems as if Joe will almost certainly be back, and Matt it's less clear on.
All right, and as I get ready to head to the Combine on NFL Network next week and then sit in this chair until the draft and then host the draft, and we're talking about
40.
And we're talking about the quarterback carousel. Do I no longer pound the drum wondering about Mac Jones? Like that, we should put that to bed here on February 23rd.
I would say that you can conclusively think that the Patriots organization is steadfast in wanting to know what they have in Mac Jones in year 3. Steadfast. And by trading him, they'll never find out.
Tom, you're the man. Thanks for the answers. As always,
buddy.
You take care, pal. See you soon. That's Tom Curran. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.